Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm doing the final TBR for What the Book Club Read, which is the Margaret Atwood read-along that I've been running since last January. Having learnt from filming my December content, and I will put my setting my 2021 intentions video in the description so you can see what I'm talking about. I am filming with the lounge door open, which I don't usually do, so if you can hear padding around, it's Jack. He's currently in a massive cardboard box over there, so if you can hear movement, that's what that is. So yeah, I wanted to talk through the 5 books that we're going to read between now and May. Like I said in my intentions video, I'm going to stop the book club in May, mostly just because I've really enjoyed doing this Atwood read along and or read through, I don't know what you'd call it, and I found some really interesting people to chat with about Atwood along the way, which I've thoroughly enjoyed, but I can't really think of another like author or niche that I can fill with a book club, and there are so many book clubs with people who have got way more time and energy and creativity to put into them than I have, so I feel like come May this will kind of run its course, but I have thoroughly enjoyed it. And if you're one of those people who's talked to me about Atwood in the last 12 months, thank you so much. So yeah, today is the last TBR, and then in probably June or July time I will do a Atwood wrap up, and I'm also going to try and rank all of her books, so you can see most of them there. So yes, for anyone who's new here, we have been reading the fiction works of Margaret Atwood in publication order, and this is what we're going to read in the next 5 months. So in January, and yes, I know this video should have gone up in December, but it didn't, so we're doing it now. In January we're reading Year of the Flood, which is the second book in the Maddaddam trilogy, which started with Oryx and Crake, which we read in November. As you can see at the time of filming, so I've got about 100 pages left. This is post-apocalyptic fiction, and just to make you aware, there goes the cat, just to make you aware, this is a plague book. In Oryx and Crake we follow a man called the Snowman who is living in the aftermath, so I've got hair in my mouth, who is living in the aftermath of some kind of post-apocalyptic event, which turns out to be a virus. And then in this one it's the same story, but it's sort of in a parallel timeline with the Snowman, but we've got 2 completely different characters that we're following here. And then in the third book, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, is kind of where everything comes together. So just be aware it is a plague book. There is some kind of virus that's wiped out most of humanity, and we've got a few survivors left. In this book there is also a section where one of the characters is in isolation, so just be aware going in, because I had previously read this but not for a few years, and I'd forgotten that element of it, and it was a bit like, oh, because at the time I was reading it we were put in the UK, we were put back into national lockdown, so just be aware of that. Yeah, so that is the first book that we're reading in January, and this copy was gifted to me by my lovely friend Jen, so thank you so much, because it matches my Oryx and Crake, and as you'll see in a second, the third book. So that's January. In February we're going to finish the trilogy with Maddaddam, and I mean, just like, look how cool they're, so cool, and they look great on the shelf. So yeah, we're going to finish the Oryx and Crake, well, it's the Maddaddam trilogy. I always call it the Oryx and Crake trilogy because that's the first book, but we're going to finish the trilogy with Maddaddam in February, and like I said, this kind of draws together the first 2 books, and I'm really excited to get to this. Again, this is going to be that's really hard to say, post-apocalyptic fiction, and yeah, I love these covers. Then we've got 2 books that I haven't read before, so these will be 2 new Atwoods for me. So in March we're going to be reading The Heart Goes Last, and this I don't really know that much about. I know it's dystopian fiction, and I think it's a world where criminals roam free and people that haven't committed crime live in prison, something like that. So Charmaine sees an advertisement for a project called Positron that promises you a job, a place to live, a bed to sleep in. Imagine how appealing that would be if you were working in a dive bar and living in your car. She and her husband Stan apply at once. The only catch is that once you're in there, you can't get out. No one writes the lust and the loves, the wickedness and the weakness of the human heart like Margaret Atwood. I'm really excited for this one, and it's a book I've wanted to read for ages, but obviously I was waiting to read it in order. I think this was also gifted to me. Yeah, it was gifted to me by Faye, a mystery with a book, like last Christmas, I think. Yeah, so this is, just want to say a massive thank you for organising the wonderful Secret Santa for us. I hope you have a brilliant Christmas and an even better New Year. So yeah, she must have gifted this to me last Christmas. Sorry, Faye, that I haven't read it, but obviously I was waiting to read it in order. So yeah, I'm really excited to read this in March. Okay. And then in April we're reading the other Margaret Atwood that I haven't read before, which is Hag-Seed by Margaret Atwood. Look at these sprayed edges, it's so pretty. Was this gifted to me? I can't see a note in there. This is a Tempest retelling. A couple of years ago, when did this come out? A couple of years ago, there were a series of authors who were retelling Shakespeare plays, 2016. So yeah, this was a whole part of a collection. And this is a retelling of The Tempest by William Shakespeare. So I have kind of mixed feelings going into this. I'm really intrigued to see what she does with it. But I read or reread The Tempest last summer in preparation for my PGCE, and I really didn't like it. I think that I've said this in a few videos, but I feel like there are certain, like all of Shakespeare's plays were written to be performed and watched rather than read. But there are certain Shakespeare plays that I feel like you can read and get just as much out of them. So plays like Macbeth, Hamlet, Much Ado About Nothing. I feel like you can read those, and Romeo and Juliet as well, and really get what he was aiming for just from reading it. Although I would always advocate for watching a play or an adaptation. Whereas I read The Tempest and I just came away like, what? Because it's properly weird. And it's quite confusing when you're reading it. So I'm really intrigued to see what she does with the story. So let's just see what it says on the back. So it says, treacherously toppled from his post as director of the, oh my goodness, okay, Makesheweg Festival. On the eve of his production of The Tempest, Felix retreats to a backwoods hovel to lick his wounds and mourn his lost daughter, and also to plot his revenge. After 12 years, his chance appearance in the shape of a theatre course at a nearby prison. Here, Felix and his inmate actors will stage his Tempest at last and snare the traitors who destroyed him, but will it remake Felix as his enemies fall? So it should be interesting. I'm really intrigued to see what she does with it. So that is what we'll be reading in April, and then in May we're going to read what's probably one of her most controversial novels. It's a book that I read when it first came out. You can actually see the hard copy of it here, but I do have a paperback copy, which we'll talk about in a minute. And that is the Testaments. So I have a whole reading vlog for when this came out in 2019, which again I'll link in the description. It's a really rough, well, like all my vlogs are, it's super rough, so try not to laugh too much. I was so hyped for this because this is the follow-up to The Handmaid's Tale, which, as we all know, is my favourite Atwood novel. And this is set 15 years after the end of The Handmaid's Tale. And yeah, you need to go and watch that vlog to see what I thought. I'm really intrigued to now go back to it 18 months later without all of the hype and the excitement around it, because I've seen such mixed reviews, and you can go and watch that vlog to see what I thought, but I can completely understand the mixed reviews that I've seen, so I'm really intrigued to see what I make of it this time. So yeah, like I said, we're going back into Gilead. In this book we have got 3 perspectives, one from a young girl who has been raised in Gilead as part of the elite. We've also got the perspective of a woman who is part of the infrastructure of Gilead, and plays a really crucial role in keeping women in line and subjugating them. And then we have the perspective of a girl who is living outside of Gilead, and there's a reason why she goes inside the wall, basically, and it follows their 3 stories. So yeah, I'm really intrigued to see how I feel about it this time. Can I just say I really hate this? I really hate this spine. It looks awful on my shelf. Why is it bright green? Like, why couldn't they have done this on the paperback? Like, it arrived and I was like, oh. I mean, I think it's a really cool design with the 2 women, and it's the same on the back because there's 2 women in this picture as well. Can you see? So you've got a girl with a ponytail, and then in her ponytail there's another woman wearing a bonnet. I think that's really cool, but why, like, this bugs me so much every time I look at it, but that's my issue. So those are the books that we're going to read from now until May. Let me know in the comments, there they are, let me know in the comments if you've read any of them before, if you'll be joining in. If you are joining in, which one are you most excited about? I think I'm most excited for The Heart Goes Last, of the 2 that I haven't read, and I'm also really intrigued to see what I make of the Testaments this time around. So yeah, let me know if you're joining in, and leave me a little comment. Click subscribe if you would like more of this chaos, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks guys, bye.